Ruben Amorim may not have been at the club for very long at all, but I personally think he is already improving Manchester United from a defensive point of view. Now that might seem like a slightly weird thing to say when you consider we've conceded 7 goals in just 5 Premier League games, but when you remember that 4 of those were set pieces, 2 of them were blatant errors, and the other was an absolute worldie, I think Manchester United are actually improving defensively, and that is proven in the XG. We are only conceding 0.65 XG per 90 minutes in the Premier League. That's less than a goal a game. That is steady improvement for Manchester United. But how is Ruben Amorim doing it? So that is the big question, isn't it? How is Ruben Amorim fixing Manchester United defensively? Well, I'll tell you one thing he's not doing, and that's playing a consistent back 3. In fact, in every Premier League game so far, we have used 3 different defenders. It has been a different trio of players every time. We haven't seen the same trio twice yet, which is a little bit odd. We don't normally associate that with good defensive play. However, I still think we do learn a lesson from his team selection. Take the biggest game that he's played so far, for example, against Manchester City. Look at the starting 11 and the intensity in the middle of the pitch from these 4 players. These are hard workers, players that are going to buzz about. Now, of course, Mason Mount got injured and had to go off, but a team selection, the intention there was to get busy bodies in the middle of the pitch, players that can get about the pitch, win their battles, win their duels, to help Manchester United defensively. One of the other reasons that United have been better defensively is because we have been more secure on the ball. You see, it's a pretty simple sport, right? If you've got the ball, you can't concede a goal, unless you do something really bad, but even Manchester United don't tend to do that, right? But anyway, when you control the ball a lot, which is what Manchester United are trying to do, you give the opposition less goal-scoring opportunities, and that is exactly what Manchester United are doing. We are slowing down on the ball. We have all seen it, and at times I think it's actually a little bit frustrating. We see an opportunity where perhaps we could go forward with a more expansive pass, but more often than not, we are choosing to play it a little bit safer. We are playing that extra pass in midfield to make sure that we keep the ball. Like I said, it might be frustrating at times, but when we look at it from a defensive point of view, it massively reduces the amount of defensive work that we have to do. And the way that Ruben Amorim is achieving this, making sure that we can keep the ball, is by applying tactical overloads in key areas of the pitch. One of those areas is out wide, where we have spoken a few times now about the wide diamond. Centre-back, central midfielder, wing-back and inside forward. These 4 players overloading these areas of the pitch, and it's the same on the other side as well. 4 players against 3. It gives United the overload, it gives you an extra passing option, it allows you to keep the ball. It's good for your team. But also in the middle of the pitch as well, we know that teams often will have a 3-man midfield, or perhaps a 4-4-2 at times. Manchester United are regularly getting 4 players into these positions. And again, it means we have at least 1 or 2 extra players. And when you have the extra player in these areas, it means you've always got a safe pass. And when you've always got a safe pass, you can keep the ball. And when you can keep the ball, you don't concede goals. This is what Ruben Amorim's doing. We've spoken about this quite a lot. The wide diamond, overloading these areas of the pitch. Manchester United, very simply, have more players here. And therefore Manchester City can't get particularly close, and Manchester United can keep the ball. This is the benefit of tactical overloads. We've got it here as well. Again, 4 players in this area. I believe it's Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford and Ahmad. Because we've got 4 players in these positions, we can rotate, we can move, we can drop into space like Ahmad is doing here. And it means that Casemiro has so many passing options here. So many passing options. Now, of course, the opposition aren't being particularly aggressive, but Casemiro's got a lot of time on the ball, a lot of options. And when you have time combined with options, you're going to keep the ball. It's the same when it gets worked wide to Dalot. He could go inside to Ahmad, he could go inside to Casemiro, he could go backwards. But either way, you can almost guarantee that we're going to keep the ball here. In the past, in this situation here, we might have tried to be more adventurous. We might have chucked something in behind that channel to run onto, something like that. But under Ruben Amorim, we play a little bit safer, we keep the ball. And the result is we have to do a lot less defensive work. Ugarte is actually an example of United having to do less defensive work. Now, we have to remember the sample size is incredibly small. Ugarte hasn't played an awful lot of football this season, particularly under Ruben Amorim. But this season in the Premier League, he has averaged 4.4 tackles per 90 minutes. In the games that he has played under Ruben Amorim, that number has come down to 3.3. Now again, the sample size is small, but it is a reflection of Manchester United, collectively as a team, probably doing less defensive work because we've got more of the ball. And the benefit of that is if you do less defensive work, you've got more energy. So then when you do have to do defensive work, you've got more energy to go into those tackles with, and you should be better defensively. But also, structurally, Amorim has helped us. The structure we are talking about is, of course, that sort of pentagon shape that we have high up the pitch. At times, it's a little bit passive. We let the opposition have a fair amount of the ball, but it is compact, and these players are all really close together. And I think this is the most important thing for Amorim defensively at the moment. it is a cohesive unit. It isn't like our forwards go off and then we have our midfielders and then we have our defenders. This is team defence. The whole team defend together. All of these players are close to each other. And in terms of for the opposition, look how narrow Manchester United are. If you want to move the ball through the middle of the pitch, the most dangerous area, quite frankly, you can't really, because Manchester United simply have too many players in these positions, which forces the opposition to play wide. But importantly, even when the ball is moved wide and the opposition can carry forward relatively easily, Manchester United is still compact, and the unit still moves as exactly that. A unit, the front five stay close to each other as they drop into these deeper positions, and it does make Manchester United more compact. Again, we've dropped as a unit. You cannot move the ball through the middle of the pitch here. It's really good defensive play, and I think it's something that Amorim has really put a focus on, condensing the middle of the pitch. How many times last season did we see that Manchester United would be wide open in midfield? I mean, wide open at times. Now, particularly in narrow areas, we are difficult to play through. So you might move it forward out wide, but we almost don't mind that because we will stop you in the middle. Now, of course, that idea and that system isn't perfect. In fact, it's far from it. Because even if your team is compact, the second you are passive, you do give the opposition time to come onto you. You do give teams the license to move the ball forward and dominate possession at times and control phases of the game. However, I still feel that game by game, Manchester United are getting better at dealing with these situations. Even if we are played past initially, players do move into these areas, I still feel that we defend as a team. We've spoken about the front five initially, now we're going to talk about the back five. But importantly, they're not two separate things, they actually connect, thanks to the centre-backs. We saw it a lot against Manchester City, right? Lisandro Martinez being given the licence, no, that's not Lisandro Martinez, being given the licence to disconnect from the back line to step into midfield. That is that connection point, right? This isn't a front five and a deep five, it is all one defensive unit. So, you've got these five players here, close, compact, but the second you move past them, the next player is there, close, compact. The Manchester United players are playing close together defensively. Again, we've got it here, right? We've got that pentagon shape initially, that front five, but at times it's passive and you can move the ball past them. But Lisandro Martinez will then connect. He almost joins that five. He steps in as the extra midfielder. And again, it means that Manchester United are a unit together. Look how many United players are there. All really nice and close to each other, and also aggressive as well. We're not just sitting in our own penalty area. We're trying to get out, we're trying to apply pressure to the ball where we can. We saw the same in the game against Arsenal. Now on this occasion, the front five actually goes a little bit higher and tries to press, and gets it wrong. The front five get the press wrong, and it leads to a spot of bother. That big space there, oh, have we seen that before? Remember last season? That space? It was there all the time. But importantly, Manchester United, when this space does occur, are dealing with it in a better way. Although, we do still need to try and stop it happening in the first place, but we'll get there. But the way we're stopping this is, first of all, by playing mobile midfielders. Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes have played a few games together. They cover ground, they are able to kind of buzz around the opposition to stop them moving the ball forward easily. But even if the opposition can move the ball forward, despite being delayed, it's bought time for our centre-backs to get involved. Our defence doesn't have to drop too deep. Rather than retreating to the edge of our penalty area, Mazraoui is actually aggressive, progressive. He comes out and applies pressure to the ball, and once again forces Kai Havertz to play backwards. If you kind of rewind just a couple of clips ago, the space that Arsenal had that they could potentially attack here, to end up just a few seconds later, Havertz is facing his own goal in his own half and playing backwards, is again a reflection of Manchester United defending really well. So have we conceded a reasonable amount of goals under Ruben Amorim? Yes, we have conceded too many, but so many of them are set pieces, which need a lot of work. But also we've seen individual mistakes. I think if we can cut those errors out of our game and improve at defensive set pieces, we'll see that overall, Ruben Amorim has actually taken massive steps already to improving Manchester United defensively. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. It's far from it. But the identity is there, that everything we do is done as a team. The whole team goes together, high into the mid block and also into the low block. It's all done together. And I think that's a good thing for Manchester United. It's still very early, but this is progress. And personally, I love to see tactical progress from this Manchester United side. But in terms of today, we're finished there. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you could subscribe to the channel and leave a like, that would be amazing. But yeah, if not, I'll see you in the next one.